Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie and I help you change your beliefs so you can change your body, your health, and your life. This video, I want to go over 3 of the biggest fat loss lies that you need to stop believing in order to lose fat successfully. Now, a lot of this comes down to consistency, right? What can you realistically keep up for a long enough time to help you lose body fat? You need a calorie deficit, so what foods can you include consistently for a long time to help you stick to a calorie deficit? And this is where a lot of you go wrong. You have these beliefs in your head that you need to cut out treats, you need to cut out carbs, you need to go low carb, you need to go low fat, you need to basically do everything that you don't like doing in order to be successful, when it is not the case at all. You need to change that, and you actually need to do things you like doing still, balanced with some things that you don't like doing so much. And that is how you're going to find that happy medium to allow you to stay consistent with a calorie deficit and also lose fat at the same time, because you are staying consistent. A lot of you self-sabotage because you have these beliefs still in your head, and you really need to reprogram them and allow yourself to see that carbs don't make you fat. If you want to include carbs in a fat loss diet, you can. And you shouldn't be scared to eat carbs. Unless you're diabetic, of course, or you have some kind of gut issue or autoimmune condition, then there are better diets for you potentially. But if you don't have any health issues, you don't need to completely cut out carbs. That is one of the biggest lies, that you still believe that carbs are fattening. Too much food overall is fattening. And so as long as you are in a deficit, as long as you're hitting your protein target, carbs are actually really helpful to help fuel your training, to help fuel any kind of thinking activity that you have to do, studying, for example, and they can also help you sleep better. Please stop being scared to eat carbs. They are highly beneficial for most of you. And that is one of the biggest mistakes I made when I started out. When I started tracking my macros for the first time ever, I realized I was eating about 100 grams less carbs than what I actually needed per day to get the result that I wanted. I actually had to add more carbs to lose body fat. And that is the case for a lot of you, especially if you don't really need to lose weight, but you need to lose fat. Now, the next myth that you need to stop believing is that you need to cut out all treats, and things like chocolate and cookies are bad for you. One of my clients asked me this today because she's been sending me all her food logs so I can give her feedback on the food she's eating and also keep her accountable to make sure she's hitting her calorie and protein target. And she asked me to address the fact that she's eating too many sweets. And I answered her, I said, well, if I told you to completely cut out sweets, how is that going to make you feel? And she said it would make her feel sad. And this is what you have to think about, right? If you are so restricted in your diet that it makes you feel sad, if it creates this kind of stress in your life, you know what's actually worse for you than some sugar? Stress. Not enough people are worrying about the stress that they put on themselves in their lives. Not enough of you are actually taking the time out of your day to regulate your nervous system. And I know in various phases of your life, this can be really hard to do, especially if you have kids. However, you cannot be worrying about sugar is bad for me, I shouldn't have it at all, or chocolate is bad for me, if you are not also worrying about your stress levels. In my opinion, stress is one of the worst things for you. And so if that is what you're worried about, if you're worried about your health or things being good or bad for you, focus on minimizing your stress first. Anyway, so when it comes to things like chocolates and treats, and what I said to this client, she was blowing up the fact that she was still eating treats throughout the day. What she wasn't looking at is the fact that majority of her food intake was still whole food based. And so I said to her, there's not really anything to address here, because you are allowed to have some treats so long as you stick to your calorie deficit target and you're hitting your protein, you're getting those steps in, and you're working on improving all of those things each day. Then you're going to continue making progress whilst enjoying the process, because you can have some treats. And that is that healthy balance. That is what is good for you. And for most of you, fat loss overall is going to help make you healthier. Health is physical and mental, right? So The fat loss will take care of the physical side of things, and then making sure you are improving your relationship with food as you go and reframing some of these beliefs and actually allowing yourself to eat some of these treats guilt-free, given that you are getting nutrients in for the rest of your day. I'm not telling you to just go eat chocolate and chips all day. That is not what I'm saying. 80% of your diet should be whole food based still. You should be getting your protein in without using a pile of supplements. And then if you're doing that, 20% of your day can come from whatever you want, chocolate, chips, treats, whatever, and that is totally fine. You don't need to completely avoid any kind of food to be successful with fat loss and to really improve your relationship with food and reframe these beliefs and see it for yourself. You are going to have to test eating some of these foods while sticking to your calorie deficit, whilst hitting your protein and steps, and then you're going to get the result, and that is going to help you see for yourself that this actually works. And then when you make enough progress, you're really going to start to believe it for yourself. Now, the last fat loss lie that you need to stop believing is that you need to do cardio to lose body fat. That is not the case at all. Having too much of an emphasis on the exercise you're doing is very likely to distract you from what is actually going to drive fat loss, and that is your nutrition. All the exercise in the world is not going to result in fat loss if you are not paying attention to your nutrition and making sure you are eating enough protein whilst also being in a calorie deficit for fat loss. That's not to say I don't recommend doing any cardio for your health, but thinking that you have to, or thinking that that is going to have the biggest impact on fat loss, or maybe you're thinking that is the missing link for you. It is not. It is something to do with your nutrition if you are unable to lose fat. Maybe you can't stick to a cardio plan and all your focus is on trying to stick to some form of cardio, and you feel bad about yourself because you can't stick to it and you think if only I could, then I'd lose body fat. That is not the case at all. You don't have to worry about cardio. Get your food right first, get your protein right first, and then get your steps right. That's going to actually have a bigger impact than cardio itself. And how I differentiate cardio to steps is basically your heart rate. Steps should feel kind of easy. Cardio should be more intense and you get your heart rate up more, and it's a stress on the body, where steps, walking is not a stress on the body for majority of you. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me an email. That's in the description box, and I'll see you in the next video.